All right, let's just go down the list for some just common weapons, or at least weapons I think that are common in campaigns that are frequently used, so we can just go over the idea of what their mastery property is. So we'll start with our ever-loving dagger. So it has the nick property. So what that means is if you have two daggers or a light sword and a dagger, normally you would attack and then a bonus action attack. But in this case, you could actually second attack on the attack action instead. It has the same property that you just roll the dice and don't add any modifiers, but still that frees open your bonus action to do. So if you're a rogue, for example, you can use your cunning action property and all that good feat stuff too. Then we have the hand axe. I think that's rather common for rangers to take, or even rogues. In this case, as you can see, we have Vex, and if you hit a creature that and deal damage to the creature, you have advantage on the next turn. So what that means is if you're a ranger, that first attack you hit it, and then the second attack would have advantage, and that good stuff too. So a little bing bing. And then we have the quarterstaff is probably one of the more common ones too, and that is topple. So in this case, it is knocking somebody prone, and that makes sense. With hitting somebody with a staff, you probably would potentially take out their legs. Especially with the versatile feat, or especially with the versatile property. In this case, you can have two hands. And then we have the spear, which is sap, adds disadvantage on the next attack roll before the start of your next turn. So if you are first in initiative, that's the thing. Just its next attack roll. It's immediately after. So if it was a reaction, technically that's an attack roll. Okay, we have a light crossbow, which is slow, and that's 10 feet of taken away from movement speed until the start of the next turn. But remember, this does not stack, so don't try that. Alright, so let's move on to the martial weapons. So if we have some strength-based characters, they might have the great sword, potentially the great axe, which is cleave. In this case, you roll two attacks. So if there's somebody in front of you and there's another guy next to them, or, and generally within 5 feet, you would roll the first attack against your target, and then you would roll a secondary attack to hit the secondary creature, but you won't add your ability modifier to the damage. So it's basically dual wielding bonus action type of situation. And then we have our greatsword, which is graze. Graze essentially means that if you miss, you still deal damage, specifically equal to the ability modifier that you use to make the attack roll. So probably this is going to be a strength roll. So this is going to always do 3, 4, 5 potentially damage no matter what. And then we come down to probably a decently usually amount one is Warhammer, which again allows you to push them up to 10 feet straight away. So if they're right in front of you and you hit them with that Warhammer, they go backwards 10 feet, so 2 blocks essentially, as long as they're large or smaller. And that's basically the most common ones. I mean, the longbow is already slow, so we know that slows already. The whip is slow, that's not very common. Rapier is Vex, so you deal advantage on the next roll before the end of your next turn. We already did that. Scimitar's Nick. Anyway, pretty much went over pretty much most of them, if not all of them, just by doing the common examples. Yeah, if you have any questions or comments, make them below, and maybe we'll look in some other aspects of the manual. Thanks. See you around.